obliques or the right obliques, because the internal and external obliques work at cross purposes, right? They cross. So instead, we talk about the motion that we test. So we will say for manual muscle testing, we're testing the oblique trunk flexors, and then we'll have left and right for the motion that they have been turned. Okay? So if they're turned to the left, the front of their body has gone left versus the front of their body has turned and is facing right. Okay? So this is one of the few times where we are listing the motion, not the muscle, because we've got two muscles that work. We've got one on one side and the other on the other side, right? Okay? Now this test is kind of a bugger all for the therapist, because you're supposed to put them in the test position and then they have to hold it. Okay? And the test position is 45 degrees of flexion with rotation. So for those of you who are a little bit height challenged, this one's going to be a big fat bummer for you. Okay? So just going to tell you now. Now, for this one, in the upper abdominals, there's going to be what I call the Abdominal Macarena. Okay? So how you do the manual muscle testing is the grading is based on where the hands are. Okay? So this is 5. This is 4, this is 3. And it's the same for both of those tests. Okay? So 5, 4, 3. And then any manual muscle test grades lower than that is going to be based on clearance of the clavicle, of the scapula. Okay? So I have confidence in you. So I'm going to go ahead and put your hands behind your head. I'm going to slip underneath you here. Okay. I'm going to bring you up. And I'm going to turn you. Okay, now can you hold it there?
So is that left or right?
So this is left. 3. 3.5. Okay, you go ahead and relax. Okay. So, and you have them hold that for 6 seconds. The grunting?
Yeah.
Well, it gets tricky. It gets tricky if the person has, I mean, we don't have the same body type, and so we don't have conflicting body types, but if we have someone who's my size down there, and then I come in here, we're going to be doing a frontal body slam, which is really not okay in the clinic. So in that case, you have to be, I can't come in that way, and so then you end up asking the patient to help you a little bit.
So is the passive range of motion or the active just to get in that test position?
So for all the things that we said you have to do, for the trunk they aren't the case. So you simply put them in the test position. We have all these extra different ways that you do the grading.
Why can't you just have them go and then go?
Because that's part of the test.
Because
Will that fatigue you already just getting in?
no, because that isn't, so you can have them help you get into that position, but what if they can't? Then you can't give them the correct manual muscle test grade. So that's why you have to help them get in the test position. But as you play with that, you're going to find that you have to ask them to help you a little bit. Okay? But you're putting them in that position and you're documenting whether they're left rotated or right rotated. So I had Tessa left rotated. Now, I don't have very strong arms, and so I will always be rotating the person towards me. So I would not stay on this side of the table to do the right rotation. Okay? You saw that Tessa's legs came up just a little bit. Once I had her in the test position, you can come down and just stabilize the legs a little bit.
So how do you know, like, where do you start? Like, obviously Tessa can do it behind her head, but like,
Right.
if you put them in it like that, like, are they just gonna fall to the table if
So
they can't do that?
So honestly, I would do the other test first and have an idea of where they're at, and then base this test on that. Okay, Kendall has this one first, but I always do the upper abdominal test first because we're going to use the very same hand positions. Okay, so right, if we did it this way and I got her up and she fell down right away, well now I've got to get her back up with her arms in a different position. So I want to guess right the first time. Okay, so the next test, so I have this thing that drives me crazy that we talk about upper and lower abdominals like they're two separate things, right? The transverse abdominis is one muscle. And so Kendall has it broken down into upper and lower muscles, and what you'll see is a lot of the muscles are the same, okay? The upper, we might be getting a tiny bit more internal oblique. And for the lower, we might be getting a little bit more external oblique. But we're always getting rectus abdominis and the anterior aspect of the external oblique. Okay? So we're really testing a lot of muscles in two different ways. We're fixing one end and seeing how it controls the other with only slight tweaks. Okay? All right. So the upper abdominals, it's going to be really important that you not hold their legs because that's going to be able to allow them to recruit their hip flexors. Okay? And we don't want that. So what I'm going to have you do is have your hands just like they are. Now what I want you to do is in a slow and controlled fashion, bring your head up, clear your shoulder blades, and then go ahead and come all the way up into a sit-up. Nice. Beautiful. Okay? And come on back down. The important thing is that they move slow, that you see a nice rounding of the spine, and then you can see exactly when her hip flexors kicked in. Because she didn't roll up anymore, she then went from her hip and came up. That's absolutely appropriate for that part of the sit-up. Okay? If she wasn't able to do that, or if you just saw her anterior neck muscles like about to come out of her neck, then I would have her try to go ahead and put your hands across your chest. And now come up and, okay, slow it down and roll. So head first, shoulders, there you go. Good. Now she could do it before. But if you held their legs, you would artificially give them a higher grade. Okay? And the hip flexors would kick in earlier. So we're going to use the same abdominal Macarena, 5, 4, 3, and then the rest of the grades are going to be about the clearance of the scapulae off the table. Okay. So those, we've got our oblique trunk flexors, we have our upper abdominals, our lower abdominals, again require me to work. What I'm going to have you do is tuck your belly button down into the table. Okay? So you're going to make your pelvis go in this direction when I lift up your legs. I'm going to lift your legs up till they're straight up and down, and then I'm going to be watching your back, and you are going to slowly lower your legs. I'm going to keep my hand under your legs so if you get tired, I'll catch them. But I'm going to stop you as soon as you start to lift up your back. So I want you to have that back really flat on the table. Okay? All right, so we're going to lift you up here. Now, if someone has tight hamstrings, they're not going to be able to get in that position. That's fine. We're not testing hamstring length. Okay, so go ahead and let them bend a little bit. Test is fine. Okay, go ahead and relax your legs on there. There you go. Okay, now we're going to tuck your back nice and flat. Okay, good. Now, keeping your back in that position, go ahead and lower your legs. Nice and slow like that. Great. Good speed. Show off. Okay, good. Relax. Nice. So she would get a 5 out of 5. That's a really good job. I'm so jealous. So how you're going to get a manual muscle test grade for this is every 15-degree increment is a higher muscle grade. Okay? So if you can get between 0 to 15 degrees from the table while keeping your lower back flat, that will be a 5 out of 5. Okay? If you're up here and you can't come out of 90 very much and you lose your back, that's going to be a 3. Okay? So that's how we're going to do our manual muscle test grading for the abdominals. Now a question comes up every year. For the upper abdominals, we've all been taught to never do a full sit-up anymore, right? We all do crunches and just clear our scapulae, but we don't come all the way up into a full sit-up. If I had a patient who, again, had a lumbar disc protrusion, I would not do this manual muscle test, okay? Because I don't want to increase the low back intradiscal pressure to get that information at this point. But for one time, to get a strength test of the abs, I think it's important to do. Just not in probably that particular patient population would I do that on day 1. Okay? So those are our 3 manual muscle tests. So you can see there's not many manual muscle tests. They're not all that complicated, but there's a lot of special grading. Okay?
Can you score below a 3?
So if they can't lower their legs at all, then you would put her in sideline, okay? And then it would be graded just like we would normally grade it. So thank you for asking that. Yes.
If you're in sideline and you're just like
Right, yeah.
Is it still a 15-degree increment?
No, so for that one, it would be like we did it the other way. First, I would wanna see if she can get her legs up into that position. If she can, I would put her at mid-range and then apply resistance. Now,
So how would you apply resistance? Just pushing down?
yeah, so if you were in your sideline, and then, so what I want you to do is keeping your knees straight, and I'm just gonna monitor your pelvis here. Go ahead and bring your legs up until they hit my thigh. Great. Okay, now we're gonna bring you back down just a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna apply resistance here, and you don't let me push your legs back, okay? And your legs. Good. Okay. Now, one of the things that I saw in a couple of videos is you did gravity eliminated for pect like this, like literally like this. Anytime you're in a gravity eliminated position, they need to be supported. Okay? Whether it's your hand and then they're moving like this, or some of you had them on the table and did it like this. Tessa just had the table supporting her when she did that. That's fine. But you don't want them, if they're below a 3 out of strength, you want them to be supported. They shouldn't have to hold that limb. Okay? All right, those are our 6 medium muscle